that, and this is another fun-filled storytime video. If you're familiar with my channel, you know that these are usually pretty dark. Because that's just the way my life is. In this one, I'm going to be telling you about my workplace stalker. Well, one of them anyway. Because, you know, there's just no shortage of unwanted attention when you're female and exist, I guess. So this was several years ago, back before I was acting full-time. I was still a retail manager, so I was a store manager at a Guess accessories store. It was in an outlet mall, so it was an open-air shopping environment, and I loved that job. Honestly, Guess was such a great company to work for. So in this store, because it's a really small store, usually it would just be one manager and one employee who was your cashier or sales girl or whatever, and then maybe midway through the day you'd usually get an extra mid, and then you'd have your closing associate come on, and those two might overlap a little bit. So there was one day when a customer came into the store and he told me that he was shopping for his girlfriend and he wanted to get her some kitten heels. So this guy asked me if I would try on a pair, which, okay, it is a little bit creepy, but I had done it several times before. Usually men just want to know, does it look comfortable? Does it look like something you would wear? Is this something that you think I should buy for this person? Just getting like a general opinion. And you know what? If it's gonna sell 3 pairs of shoes, you do it. Because you gotta make those numbers, baby. It's bleak. So this guy came in, he was maybe like late 50s, early 60s, and he asked me to try on these shoes, said he was shopping for his girlfriend. I tried them on. He wasn't creepy or anything, like he didn't try and touch me or anything, and he wasn't saying anything out of the ordinary. I rang him up for the shoes and I handed him his bag, and he pushed them back at me across the counter and said, "These are for you." And I pushed them back to him and said, "No, they're not." And he said, "No, really, I insist. They look fantastic on you." And I said, "No, thank you. I cannot accept those." And he passed them back to me once more and said, "Well, I'm just gonna leave them here, and if you change your mind, then they're yours." And he was just, it's always so frustrating, that moment when you realize someone is creepy and you're just like trying not to scream in their face because you're annoyed that you have to deal with this one more time. And he was like, "You're just so beautiful and they look amazing on you and I think that you should have them," and he left. So I called my district manager. I'm like, "What should I do about these damn shoes?" And she was like, "Well, see if he comes back in a couple of days, just keep them in the cash wrap." After maybe like 2 weeks, every couple of days she would ask about them, and after 2 weeks she was finally like, "You know what? Go ahead and return the shoes to a gift card and buy yourself whatever you want because you had to deal with that garbage." So I returned the shoes, got a gift card. I think I got myself a wallet or something. And in the meantime, I was doing all of these closing shifts, and I never really noticed maybe like the first week. But then one night when I was leaving with my associate, we were usually some of the last people left in the outlets closing the store. It was a large parking lot and there were a lot of stores, but there weren't really that many employee cars compared to the size of the lot. So someone could be watching you and you wouldn't necessarily know it. So as I was leaving one night, I drove past this car and realized it was that man. And that kind of creeped me out, but I was hoping it was just a coincidence at that point. And I think it was either the next day or 2 days after that, this guy came into the store again. And it was one of those situations where like my opening manager was there and I was in early to start working on the schedule, so I didn't have to be on the floor, and I saw this guy coming and I ran to the back room and I'm like, "I gotta work on the schedule now. See you in an hour." So he did come into the store. I was told by the other manager that he did come in on other shifts, and luckily they weren't the shifts that I was working, but they did make me aware of the fact that he was popping in every once in a while, and he would look around and then he wouldn't buy anything and he would leave. That in and of itself was not what crossed the line. Eventually what happened was I started to notice his car was there really late. and he would usually be driving slowly past our store right around like an hour to 2 hours before we're closing, and he would just circle the parking lot. And I started to notice him more and more frequently and for longer periods of time. There were a couple of shifts that I worked where he was there the entire time. He was there for 9 hours, just hanging out at the outlets and occasionally driving past my store and looking in and just being really, really creepy. After that happened, my cat is shaking the camera. Hurry up, Helga. After that happened the first couple of times, we had to get security involved because it became a safety issue. And at that point, it was kind of like trying to get the least competent form of law enforcement to make sure you're safe. So I'm not sure if these guys ever really got around to specifically finding out which car it was or getting his license plate or any of that information. It was kind of like I would see him come by, I would call security, and by the time they would get there, he was gone. And I wasn't gonna leave my store to go run after this car and get a license plate number. So I pretty much only had like a description of him, a description of his car, but no specific details. So security started patrolling our store more frequently. They would have a guard actually come and walk into the store, usually at the beginning and towards the end of one of my shifts. And then if I was the closing manager, we would have a security guard walk me out of the building at the end of the night. And eventually got to the point where they did have to confront him because they did see him there at one point, and I think from that point on they told him, look, you're banned from the outlets because you're harassing one of the employees, and if you don't cut it out, then we're gonna press charges on you and get the police involved. So, I mean, while they are just like baby cops, I guess mall security can do some things if that person's a law-abiding citizen. Luckily, this was kind of just a light case of stalking. It wasn't like the full-blown other things I had to deal with. So once security told him that he wasn't allowed there, they kind of gave me that update and said if he shows up again, just call us up and we will have him taken out and we'll call the police at that point. He was well enough spooked that he didn't want to ruin his life over harassing a woman who didn't want to wear his shoe gifts. But you know, it is frustrating and it's nerve-wracking and you don't want to have to think about if you're safe going to work every day. So luckily that was resolved without incident and I didn't have to like go to court for this jerk and disrupt my life too much. But it would have been nice if it just never happened in the first place. There are some disgusting men in the world and they're just gonna keep finding women to harass. So prepare yourself. Get some pepper spray. And that's all I have. Thanks for watching. If you want to see more videos like this one, let me know in the comments below. If you're not already subscribed, please hit that subscribe button and hit the notification bell next to it so you get updates when I post new videos. Follow me on social media at Katrinaosity. Check out my podcast at MDXpods.com. And if you enjoyed this video, please click the like button. It really helps my videos get seen.